Hello, my name is Matt Mercurio and I am a Senior Customer Engineer with ATTO Technology. Today I am going to show you how easy it is to set up your ATTO XstreamCORE 8100T with your SAS tape drive or SAS tape library. While there are many additional features offered by the 8100T, this video will cover basic setup of the bridge. For more details on how to set up additional features such as access control, manual mapping, CHAP, and other best practices for your iSCSI network, refer to the 8100T installation and operation manual on the ATTO website. When you first open the 8100T box, you will find the following items included: 2 Getting Started resources, a product brochure resource, the 8100T desktop unit with 2 10 gigabit Ethernet transceivers, and depending on which model you've ordered, those transceivers will either be optical SFP Plus or SFP Plus to RJ45. And lastly, you will find an AC power cord and power adapter. You will also need for this setup an LC to LC OM3 or higher optical cable if you are using the SFP Plus type transceiver, or a Cat6 or higher Ethernet cable with an RJ45 connection. To connect your tape drive to the 8100T, you will need a fan-out SAS cable to connect multiple tape drives or libraries. A standard SAS cable will work as well for configurations with only one tape drive. And lastly, you'll need an LTO5 or higher tape drive or library. For this demonstration, we will be using a standalone full-height LTO9 tape drive connected to the 8100T. When you first open the 8100T, make a note of the unit serial number that is located at the bottom of the enclosure. The 8100T's default password is based on the serial number, so this will be needed later when logging into the 8100T's management interface. Now we will go over the hardware installation of the 8100T. First, place the XstreamCORE 8100T on a stable, flat surface. If installing into a rack tray, install the XstreamCORE assembly horizontally within the rack so it does not reduce the airflow within the rack. Second, connect the SAS target devices with the appropriate mini SAS HD cable. This is the fan-out cable that we talked about before. Third, connect a 1 gigabit Ethernet management port to your network. For initial setup, it is probably best to connect the management port directly to the management host, which is how I will demonstrate in this video. Also connect your data ports to your data network switch or directly to the backup host. Once everything is connected, power on your tape drive or tape library and wait for it to become ready. Once the library is ready, you can now connect the power to the XstreamCORE and to the proper AC source outlet. The XstreamCORE 8100T will power on automatically and begin booting when connected to power. Wait for the XstreamCORE Ready LED to light, indicating that the XstreamCORE has completed its power on self-test sequence. Once the 8100T is ready, we need to set up the unit for network access. You can do this in 2 different ways. If you prefer a GUI-based management, you can use the Secure Web Interface. If you prefer command line management, then you can connect via SSH. Before I show you how to log in, let's go over some of the default settings for the 8100T. In this case, I will set my management host NIC port to 192.168.0.2 with a subnet mask of 255.255.255.0. Now I should be able to log into the bridge via the web browser or SSH. To connect via the web browser, open your favorite web browser and type in the IP address of the 8100T management port. On your first attempt, your browser may not recognize the 8100T web certificate, so you will need to tell the browser to go to the site anyway. Once you do this, you should see the login page where you can enter the default bridge credentials to log in. To connect via SSH, you will need a SSH client such as PuTTY or OpenSSH. In Mac OS, you can connect via SSH using terminal and typing sudo SSH admin at the IP address of the bridge. You may be prompted to confirm key pair authentication on first login, so type yes when prompted. Now that you have access to the 8100T management tools, you can now set your preferred IP addresses for the management and data ports, modify your default password, and confirm device mapping. To configure the Ethernet ports via HTTPS, first navigate to the Ethernet tab. Then modify the management port and data ports 1 and 2 as desired. Make sure to click Save Changes before modifying the next port. One thing of note, it is required that each port on the 8100T be assigned on a separate subnet. Additionally, if you change the IP address of the management port, you will need to log in again to your HTTPS or SSH management interface using the new IP address. To configure Ethernet ports via SSH, use the IP DHCP, IP address, IP subnet mask, and IP gateway commands to configure each network port to your preferred settings. We will not go over this in this video, so I'm going to point you to the 8100T installation and operation manual for details on how to use these commands. Next, for best security practice, we highly recommend that you change the default password on your 8100T. To modify passwords via SSH, use the password command to begin an interactive command sessions. Enter the appropriate information when prompted to enter the current password and then the new password. To modify passwords via HTTPS, navigate to the Management tab, then enter the current password, then your preferred new password in the required fields, then click Change Password. In the Web GUI interface, after changing the admin password, the 8100T will redirect you to the login page as you will need to re-log in again with your new password. If for some reason you have lost your password, the XstreamCORE 8100T can be defaulted using the Reset button on the front panel. Pressing and holding the Reset button for 5 seconds will reset all configurations to default, including the password. The ATTO XstreamCORE 8100T allows SAS tape devices to participate in an iSCSI fabric. iSCSI and SAS use different models to address devices. The XstreamCORE translates between these addressing models. The 8100T features 2 mapping modes, automatic and manual. Automatic mapping creates iSCSI targets based on SAS topology without the need for user configuration. This is the default setting on the 8100T and what we will be showing today. If you prefer to map your devices manually, refer to the 8100T installation and operation manual. In your SSH session, issue Show Devices to see a list of devices that are attached and seen by the 8100T. Then issue iSCSI Show Maps to view the current iSCSI targets and the devices mapped to each target. In your HTTPS session, you can use the Storage tab to see what devices are attached, and use the iSCSI tab to view the current iSCSI targets and iSCSI logins. As you can see, the 8100T automatically discovered the LTO9 drive that I have attached and has mapped it to a unique iSCSI IQN target name. This target can be accessed through either portal or data port. Once you have confirmed that your tape devices are mapped, you are now ready for the next step, logging into your iSCSI targets using your iSCSI initiator. We have created videos for Windows, Linux, and Mac OS to guide you through this process. Click the appropriate link to access the platform for your host system.